God of War Ragnarok is just an outright amazing game. You didn't need this review to just go ahead and tell you that. I mean, the game borders as becoming an interactive movie, culminating the events of the game before it into just an experience I highly recommend everyone goes out and plays. I know I'm super late here with the holiday, but I was able to take my time and really just enjoy almost everything the game has to offer. I had so much fun playing this, I just couldn't not have a review on my channel for it. I want to start by just prefacing I've played all the God of War games. The early games weren't really known for their storyline. I mean, sure, the premise of it was really cool, but that whole execution wasn't really there. The games were just more of a hack and slash, like Devil May Cry. God of War in 2018 completely redefined the series and was just highly praised for it, getting 10s out of 10s everywhere. If you guys haven't played that game, skip this video and do yourself a favor by playing it as soon as you can. The video will avoid spoilers because the story should be experienced in full. I'm literally only including footage from that first few hours because I don't want to ruin a thing for anyone. You need to just experience this one for yourself. The question here with this game though is, does lightning strike twice? Does this sequel hold up to the first? Is it too close to the first one and feels like DLC? Or is it just a new and bold enough to stand out from the previous game? I'm going to start with story. The game starts a few years after the ending of the first game. Kratos and his son Atreus discovered a prophecy of Ragnarok that they're seemingly involved in. Their life of solitude and training is quickly interrupted by the gods of the realm, demanding revenge for the previous game's actions. I'm not going to ruin anything else here, but just know that the storyline is the best part of the game. You can't experience this without the first. Consider it like watching Endgame without first watching Infinity War. You're going to be lost. The continuation of the first game excels story-wise to whole new levels for God of War. The scenes, the emotional depth, Kratos going from this stoic figure of vengeance to a father torn between being there for his son or pushing him away as he gets older. This is as much Atreus' story as well, where he somewhat falls into that whole tropey teen thing, but I mean he's fighting for his individuality and destiny, only just wanting his father to trust him. If you guys thought the first game was deep, this game is just as symbolic, as each character gets so many lines to expand and connect on. The characters here feel human rather than just game characters. The level of cinematography is just unmatched by any other game, during cutscenes, executions, and even just the gameplay set pieces that you're in. Gameplay is really just more of the same from the first game. With this being a direct sequel, I mean, you can't have the formula change too much. Combat is still a blast and it's pretty difficult. You're leveling Kratos and Atreus through XP for skills and items to help level up his blades and his axe. Leveling the weapons unlocks new moves that flow so well during combat. Never do those moves feel like they're just too hard to remember, and you get better as you play, where you're chaining, parrying, and just switching out weapons to take out enemies. What has changed here are the variety of enemies that are attacking you. You've got different mini-bosses, the bosses still feel as epic, and the executions have enough variety to not get old at all. Kratos still feels like a beast, and you're going to enjoy chopping heads and just splitting creatures in half. Combat rewards exploration, and the more you explore, the more you unlock when it comes to gear and weapon upgrades. The game practically begs you to take different paths in the whole semi-open world. You're not always finding the best things, but you're getting armor pieces or new upgrades as you explore, making it completely worth it. Exploration even takes you to some side missions that are completely also worth doing. Most are going to be shedding light on characters and story. There's an enormous area with a ton of side content that you can completely miss if you skip a side mission. I seriously suggest hitting almost all of them. I mean, the reason this one took me just so long was because of how much content was in the game, and I'm still not 100% completion. Not all the side missions are the most compelling, but they're usually not that out of the way, and the gear that you get is definitely worth it. Going back to combat, I mean the depth here is better than the first game. You've got status effects, you've got an amulet, different modifications to special moves the more you do them, and you're even getting gear bonuses. You can build Kratos out however you'd like to fit your playstyle, giving you some flexibility. I think the best part of that is that most games that do this get overwhelming and it's hard to just keep track of things, but this game really treads a fine line of depth where it's not too complicated. When it comes to graphics, I mean, they are slightly better, I think, than 2018's God of War. I didn't really see a dramatic difference here, and it's probably just because the PS4 held it back a bit. I played it on PS5 and I experienced just a little pop-in. Kratos does look a little pory, The lighting and cinematography though is amazing, as I said earlier. You just can't say that this game looks bad, but in comparison to the original, I mean, it's definitely not a huge upgrade. I don't mind this because I'm a firm believer that if you can't get a PS5, seriously just get this on the PS4 and experience the game. I mean, speaking of that game, God of War 2018 looks better than a lot of next-gen games. When it comes to sound, it's top-notch. Voice acting is seriously great throughout. All of the characters here are just conveying so much emotion in their lines. Battle is intense. I mean, you've got the PS5 DualSense that's constantly sending out vibrations and sound effects. You can almost feel the executions and their impact thanks to the sound quality of the game. It seriously takes the game to cinematic proportions. With performance, I had 2 bugs on PS5 that wouldn't let me progress in a mission. I mean, after running around, I was trying to interact with this character. I reloaded my save because it wasn't working and it didn't take me too far back and fixed it. Speaking of reloading, I mean, the game is constantly saving. Accessibility has just so much to change. You can change buttons out, add boss checkpoints, and on PS5 you've got a performance or quality mode. I played the entire thing on performance mode just to keep frames at their highest for combat, making the game feel super fluid. I also changed out the roll button to circle and I interact to X button because it was just throwing me off during the game. I highly suggest you switch that and add the auto loot function just because it really sucks to just mash X constantly to pick things up. In conclusion, guys, I can't say God of War Ragnarok is a game. It's just a cinematic masterpiece. The title takes video games to a different level with the entire package being outstanding at everything it does. The graphics, the sound, combat, open world, side missions, and main missions all come together to make a package well worth $70. This game to me is a serious just 10 out of 10 and is legendary considering how the game decides to close out both titles. Usually sequels are going to botch that main formula and they don't live up to the original, but in my opinion, God of War Ragnarok exceeds the depth shown in the original and expands on everything the first had to offer. Graphics might be the only thing that didn't improve as much, but I think that's just more of it trying to be on old hardware. I highly suggest you play through the game, avoid all the spoilers you can, and just take your time, experience the wealth of content that it has. I've put in almost 50 hours into it, and I still have another 30 to go before I've seen and done it all. If you have a PS4 and you played the original, I have no idea what you're waiting for. Go out and buy this game today. And if you haven't played either game, I seriously suggest starting that first one and just playing this one right after. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I know it's super late, but I mean, seriously guys, you can't rush this game. It's something that you need to just take your time through and thoroughly enjoy. 2022 has been just a great year for games overall, spoiling us with both Ragnarok and Elden Ring. I mean, I know the Game of the Year argument for both is crazy right now. I'm excited to see who wins this one. For anyone coming back, I appreciate all the support. Anyone new, we're growing slowly, and if you like what you see, hit like, hit subscribe, don't miss a video. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.